Gloria Allred, and you're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's world news headlines, they are attacking from four sides. Activists say ISIS moves to Kobani from Turkey. A new Kurdish offensive targets ISIS. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television, a division of Rural County's television network whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story out of Beirut, the Islamic State group launched an attack Saturday on the Syrian border town of Kobani from Turkey, and Kurdish official and activists said, although Turkey denied the fighters had used its territory for the raid. Assault began when a suicide bomber driving an armored vehicle detonated his explosives on the border crossing between Kobani and Turkey, said Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, and a spokesperson said Syria's powerful Kurdish Democratic Union Party, well, they also said it. The Islamic State group used to attack the town from three sides. Today they are attacking from four sides. Turkey, while previously backing the Syrian rebels fighting to topple President Bashar al-Assad in the country's civil war, has been hesitant to aid them in Kobani because it fears that could stoke Kurdish ambitions for an independent state. Turkish government statement in Saturday confirmed that one of the suicide attacks involved a bomb-loaded vehicle that detonated in the Syrian side of the border, but it denied that the vehicle had crossed the Kobani through Turkey, which would be the first for the extremist fighters. Claims that the vehicle reached the border gate by crossing through Turkish soil are lies, read the statement released from the government press office at the border town of Surik. Contrary to certain claims, no Turkish officials have made any statements claiming that the bomb-loaded vehicle had crossed in from Turkey. Security forces who are on alert in the border region have taken all necessary measures, the statement continued. Associated Press journalists saw the thick black smoke rise over Kobani during the attack. The sound of the heavy gunfire echoed through the surrounding hills as armored vehicles took up positions on the border. Observatory for heavy fighting also took place southwest of the town, where the Islamic State Muslim terrorist group brought in tanks to reinforce their fighters. Mustafa Bali, a Kobani-based activist, said that by telephone the Islamic State group fighters have taken positions in the grain silos on the Turkish side of the border. From there, launching attacks across towards the border crossing point. He added that the U.S.-led coalition launched an airstrike Saturday morning in the eastern side of the town. It's now clear Turkey is now openly cooperating with the Daesh, using the Arabic acronym for Islamic State. Islamic State group began its Kobani offensive in mid-September, capturing parts of the town as well as dozens of nearby villages. The town later became the focus of airstrikes by the U.S.-led coalition against the militants. Kurdish fighters slowly have been advancing in Kobani since late October, when dozens of well-armed Iraqi Peshmerga fighters joined fellow Syrian Kurds in battles. The fighting has killed hundreds of fighters on both sides in the past 2 months. Observatory said Saturday the latest fighting killed at least 8 Kurdish fighters and 17 jihadists. The Islamic State group has declared a self-styled Islamic Caliphate in areas under its control in Iraq and Syria, governing its according to its violent interpretation of Sharia law. The group has carried out mass killings targeting government security forces, ethnic minorities, and others against it. And out of Baghdad, Iraqi Kurdish forces launched a new offensive Wednesday targeting Islamic State group extremists as a suicide bomber killed at least 5 people in the Kurds' regional capital. Operation came as the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said details haven't been finalized for a deal that would have his country train rebels to battle ISIS in Syria, where the militants also hold territory. U.S.-led coalitions targeting ISIS with airstrikes in Iraq and Syria, supporting Western-backed Syrian rebels, Kurdish fighters, and Iraqi military on the ground. The strike have helped halt the extremists' move to take the Syrian city of Kobani near the Turkish border, enabled Iraqi forces to make key advances. On Tuesday, the Kurds captured 6 ISIS-controlled buildings in Kobani and confiscated a large amount of weapons and ammunition, Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said. In Iraq, the new offensive by Kurdish forces, known as the Peshmerga, targeted areas in Diyala and Kirkuk provinces, said Yaber Yawar, a Peshmerga spokesperson. In Diyala, the Peshmerga worked with Iraqi security forces to retake the towns of Sayeda and Jalalu, Yawar said. In Kirkuk, Kurdish forces-backed coalition airstrikes launched attacks to retake territory in the town of Karbarut, located 22 miles west of the city of Kirkuk. The offensive began as a suicide car bomber struck in the heart of Erbil, killing at least 5 people, officials say. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the midday attack in the capital of the semi-autonomous Kurdish region, though authorities suspected the Islamic State group. Authorities also suspected ISIS in 3 Baghdad bombings that killed at least 10 people and wounded almost 30. Turkey, while previously backing Syrian rebels fighting to topple President Bashar al-Assad, have been hesitant to aid the Kobani fight in their fears of stoking the Kurdish ambition in an independent state, like our other story said. On Wednesday, Erdogan said no deal has been finalized for Turkey to train rebels under the auspices of U.S.-led operations against it. If we only talk about train and equip, we would be lying to ourselves, Erdogan said, reiterating the overthrowing Assad might be a priority as well. Retired Marine General John Allen, a U.S. envoy to the international coalition, held talks with Turkish officials in Ankara on Wednesday, but few details were released. The ISIS group has declared self-styled Islamic Caliphate in regions controlled by Iraq and Syria, governing its violence interpretation of the Sharia law. Sunday, there was a video released with militants showing they beheaded an American aid worker, Peter Kassig. Among the militants in that video were 2 French citizens identified by the government in Paris as Maxime Hachard, 22, and Michael dos Santos, 22. Both men are said to have left for Syria in August 2013. France also said Wednesday they would send an additional 6 fighter jets to back up the U.S.-led coalition. The jets will be deployed next month in Jordan, reducing the flying time to Iraq. And Colonel Gilles Gerin, a French military spokesperson in France, has already 12 aircrafts already taking part in the strikes in Iraq. And that's it for our world news today. And another thanks to a couple of our underwriters who support us. Thank you very much. That's right, it's time for the police blotter. Pictures in the blotter are not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County Law Enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Wednesday, 12:09 p.m. A caller from 100 block of South Auburn Street reported the theft of a money bag containing $427.38. 1:16 p.m. a caller from business 200 block of Sierra College Drive reported a man stole items. And 3:29 p.m. a caller from business 100 block of Mill Street reported juveniles trying to take $31 in candy they were cited and released to their parents. 6:27 p.m. a caller from Whiting and South Auburn Street reported hearing 2 gunshots. Nothing was located. And 6:37 p.m. a caller from 800 block of Sutton Way reported several transients urinating on the side of a building. They could not be located. 7:14 p.m. a caller from 100 block of Neal Street reported a man stole a bottle of liquor. And 9:26 p.m. a caller from 100 block of Neal Street reported 2 separate men shoplifted items. And Thursday, 12:48 a.m., a caller from 500 block of Walsh Street reported a man broke into a vehicle. Nothing was missing. And 4:08 a.m., a caller from 400 block of Marshall Street reported loud music. At 7:59 a.m., a caller from Starbucks and Freeman Lane reported a woman was yelling and calling people incompetent. She was moving on. At 8:39 a.m., she was still there, causing a verbal argument. She was removed from the property and advised not to return. At 8:40 a.m., a caller from 200 block of Sutton Way reported a physical fight. At 9:30 a.m., a caller from 1000 block of Sutton Way reported a man in a tan Chevy Silverado asked a 3-year-old boy if he wanted candy. He could not be located. 8:25 p.m., a caller from 200 block of Dorsey Drive reported an argument with a man throwing a turkey across the room. And 6:47 p.m., a caller from Joyce Drive and Whiting Street reported trespassers who could not be located. At 8:54 p.m., a woman from Mill and Neal Street reported a man acted like he was trying to get into her vehicle and was carrying a bottle of Fireball, which was he was swearing at her. He could not be located. And Friday at 5:53 a.m., a man from Stacy Lane called 911 7 times and said they were pocket dials. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Thursday, 10:08 a.m., a man from 13,000 block of Gas Canyon Road reported that dogs were attacked by a mountain lion and required veterinary care. 1:12 a.m., a caller from 12,000 block of Magnolia Road reported a person in a Jeep Wrangler was spinning donuts and causing damage to a front lawn and was laughing and then left. 11:19 a.m., a caller from Magnolia Road and East Hacienda Drive reported a possible drunken driver in a Jeep Wrangler left behind bottles of alcohol. And 1:22 p.m., a man from 10,000 block of Ball Road reported a woman rammed her vehicle into him and his vehicle. The situation was mediated. And 2:31 p.m., a caller from 10,000 block of Cedar Way reported a drunken neighbor was yelling, screaming, and blowing a horn. And 2:47 p.m., a caller from 21,000 block of Dog Bar Road hung up. It was a 5-year-old child who had gotten into trouble for slamming a door. And 2:54 p.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Little Valley Road reported a party of mobile home park with the manager feeling threatened and locking herself in an office. It was found to be a civil issue. 4:22 p.m., a caller from Steep Hollow Canyon reported promiscuous shooting. At 4:57 p.m., a caller from 18,000 block of Highway 20 reported a missing 4-year-old boy, possibly gone an hour. 4:58 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Arbogast Ranch Road reported finding the child. Parent was notified and arrived to pick up the child at 6:03 p.m. 6:47 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Lone Lobo Road reported a neighbor was shooting and a bullet hit the caller's house. No charges were desired. And 6:52 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Crystal Wells reported a girl was approached by a man in a small dark car that was tried to speak to her and told her not to be scared. 8:22 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Street Road reported trespassers. At 9:11 p.m., a caller from Pittsburgh Mine and Banner Lava Cap Roads reported a person yelling, "Ouch." 9:26 p.m., a woman from 12,000 block of Banner Lava Cap Road reported a man beating her up. He was arrested on suspicion of spousal abuse. At 9:46 p.m., a caller from 14,000 block of Pammy Way reported people possibly inside a vacant house. Lights were on, but no one was there. And Friday, 1 a.m., a caller from 12,000 block of McCaskey Road reported hearing about 30 gunshots. Nothing was located. And that's it for the blotter today. Now, thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's local news headlines, CHP stops U-Haul full of pot. And San Juan Ridge Mine Group says Nevada County's abandoned mines need rethinking. And help for pets of the homeless. And our first story written, local story. California Highway Patrol K-9 unit stopped a U-Haul Tuesday afternoon, reportedly located more than 200 pounds of marijuana. Officer was on patrol Highway 20 near Pleasant Valley Road when he conducted a traffic stop an 18-foot U-Haul van for suspicion of driving under the influence. Upon contacting the driver of the van, Michael Jesse Blue, 34, CHP officer, noted a strong odor of marijuana coming from the van. CHP K-9 conducted an exterior check of the van and alerted on the cargo area. Subsequent search of the cargo area of the van reportedly revealed 29 plastic storage totes as well as 9 garbage bags full containing processed marijuana. Investigation is turned over to the Nevada County Sheriff's Narcotics Task Force. The contents of the totes and the bags were later processed and weighed and revealed the total amount of marijuana to be 204 pounds. Blue was subsequently charged on charges of possession of marijuana for sale, transportation of marijuana for sale. He was booked and released on $150,000 bail. As the standoff over the proposed reopening of the San Juan Ridge mine continues, some people are pushing for a Nevada County-wide rethinking of potential alternative uses for abandoned hydraulic mining sites. Everybody has an abandoned mine in their backyard. No one wants to look at it, said Sol Henson, president of the San Juan Ridge Taxpayers Association. People want to ignore it because of the toxic chemicals, the blight, or the illegal activities happening there. Meanwhile, however, San Juan Mining Corp. President and CEO Tim Callaway has called for science, not politics, to be the deciding factor in proceeding with the draft environmental impact report on reopening the mine located along Jackass Flats in a remote but populated area of the ridge. We are merely asking Nevada County to make a reasonable scientific decision for completion of the science-based EIR, rather than continuing to make scientific decisions based on what appears to be politics, Callaway said in October 1st letter to Nevada County Planning Director Brian Foss. The 4-page letter details a highly technical argument in favor of proceeding with the application without having to collect additional groundwater quality samples or water levels data for the purpose of establishing a baseline. Henson, whose group does not agree that enough samples have been taken to establish a baseline, said it's time to look at positive examples to reuse the abandoned mine land, such as Nevada City's restoration and recreation reuse of a former mine site in Hirschman's Pond and at Tribute Trail. Also, Ubix River Charter School is in the process of applying for a permit to build a new school facility in an abandoned mine site, 157 Rough and Ready Highway. And of course, Empire Mine State Park in Grass Valley is thought of by many locals as a potential ideal reuse of abandoned mine land. We support the alternative use and don't negatively impact the water resource or the natural quality of the forest land, Henson said. He said the issue would be up for discussion in the upcoming Wild and Scenic Film Festival, January 15th through the 18th, taken in multiple venues in Nevada City and Grass Valley. But Callaway is nowhere near ready to concede the fight. He said San Juan Mine Corp. has paid to get an EIR finished on this project and expects one to be completed regardless of the findings, he said in the letter. San Juan Ridge residents, business owners, and school officials said that they opposed the mine reopening because of the fear of drawing down the water table, causing area wells to run dry. That was the outcome of 1990 when Callaway first tried to mine the area. Residents and the Taxpayer Association have staged demonstrations and other events to protest the mine's new reopening application. Callaway said he suspected the county was bowing to citizen opposition. The way the process has gone, we feel that the planning department is bending to the pressure from projected opponents and crafting non-science-based requirements to try and appease them, he said in a letter. At our very first scoping meeting, County Council and Foss agreed that the politics would come after the science. Let's keep it that way, Callaway added. Late last year, about 100 neighboring wells were fitted with groundwater level monitor devices and had water quality samples taken regularly for a few months. However, the water quality data collected was halted by Callaway earlier this year. He said in October 1st letter that the Nevada County planners had enough data already to proceed with the EIR. We still firmly believe the 2 years of on-site groundwater elevation and analytic data we have already provided is more than sufficient to support the EIR team's existing conclusion that groundwater conditions vary too greatly from well to well, Callaway said, and that the individual homeowner groundwater baselines needs to be established prior to project dewatering in order to evaluate any claims of impacts on case-by-case basis. November 20th, Nevada County Senior Planning Todd Herman said the county has not yet responded to Callaway's letter. The county has been working on a response back to Tim, but at this point we are not scheduling a meeting with the applicant, he added. Henson said his group hopes the county will remain firm in demanding sufficient baseline data on both water quality and water elevation. It's up to the county at this point, Henson said. If it's drawn out much longer, we think the county would consider that this is even should consider if this is even a serious application or whether they should be moving on to other things. For someone homeless and living outdoors, having a dog around can provide a sense of security. Having a dog in your tent can also make a big difference for someone trying to stay warm at night this time of year, and they're good company too. This is a very forgotten group of the needy, said Grass Valley's resident Patty Gale, or Gall. I think it's Gall. Certainly, there is a surge in our community to address the issue of homelessness, she said, but there are animals play a huge part in this. This is a group that needs to be addressed also. They need shelter, food, medical care, vaccinations, all those kinds of things. When the owner is hungry, the dog is hungry, then when the owner is cold, the dog is cold. Gall feels that the pets can offer a degree of safety to the homeless, but that's not all. The connection between pets and the person is a relationship that those can be difficult to find. They accept them unconditionally and give them unconditional love, Gall said. That pet provides them with those kinds of feelings and emotions, and they're not getting from people. To help, Gall has decided to use her home, 122 Ray Street, as a drop-off and a pick-up point for collecting pet food and other vital supplies. She's even put up a sign out front to help people find it. She got started almost a year ago collecting pet food and distributing it to Nevada County's homeless, and her efforts are starting to get some traction. Sounds like a very good program because these animals need to eat. We regularly have community members to drop off dogs and cat food for us. We bag it into 1-gallon bags and bring it to the Sierra Roots lunch. They distribute it for us, she said. We've had tremendous support for the community on that. One local classroom even got behind the effort. I saw it online and I thought it would be fun for them, said Lisa Kaufman, a third-grade teacher at Clear Creek School. My class wanted to do something community-oriented around this time of year, and they're just suckers for dogs. Her students had been read Island of the Blue Dolphins, and part of the dog where the dog dies really got to them. One student family had their own dog die recently, so she brought in the leftover bones so they wouldn't go to waste. Kids all chipped in and they bought a 50-pound bag of dog food, then split it up into sandwich bags with the dog bones inside. They bought another bag and left it whole, then donated all of it. Another local woman donated 15 dog coats to help the pets of the homeless stay warm this summer, and they've been put to good use. Nevada County Pets of the Homeless is attempting to raise $1,000 from GiveForward.com, a crowdfunding website. They are 30% of the way there so far. Nevada County Pets of Homeless is also coordinating a drive-through drop-off for pet foods, blankets, and pet coats December 13th at Bannock Grange for Winter Wonderland Festival. And that's it for today.